Hello, so you'll be pleased to know that this week is less about the weeding and more about mowing. I also managed to get a bit of a recipe in there for one of the foods I make quite often, and I've just been just looking after this grass this week. I have done a few other bits. Like I said, I did cook on this fire pit. We had a lovely brunch. It was the hottest day and it was hot to cook on the fire pit down here. You can see the ends of it. What a great week we had. The weather was beautiful. We've enjoyed being out. It's been half term, so I've been obviously spending time with the family, but this week too it's going to be a bit different. I'm going to do a bit more cooking maybe, and it's going to be sunny outside, so we'll see what we get to. And so I've got a sourdough that I'm trying to get started, which is going very slow. I'm working on some ham, so I've been curing my own ham in Prague powder and salt and spices, and today we're just gonna cook it in the oven. I'm going to show you how I do that. So this is the ham that I've been brining, and we'll take a look. So it's got pepper, juniper, bay, salt, thyme, all in there, and that has just been brining in its own kind of, it's like a dry brine. We're going to cook it in the oven using temperature probe, so we get the oven on. We're going to cook it at quite a low temperature, just because we don't really want to go really crispy on a ham. Next off, I need to wash it off and dry it. Until it's ready, because the texture of the meat is a lot firmer after it's been in the brine. Something that's interesting is when meat's cooked, it's when it's at a certain temperature, is when it's safe to eat. Temperature can also tell you how the middle is doing. So what we have is we have a temperature probe on our oven, very fortunate, and it will cook it to that temperature. Now, this is a function that a lot of people might have on their ovens that they don't use, but I really recommend if you're cooking meat like this and you're not too worried about when it's ready, you don't have to calculate the time. You just calculate the temperature. Now, what's difficult if you're doing that as part of a meal is knowing, well, how long should that take, so I can plan the rest of my sides and things. But especially when we cook on the fire, we need to really kind of understand that. But this kind of helps us to kind of go, sometimes meat cooks a lot quicker than you think. And a lot of the advice in the package, and for real good reasons, tell you to cook it longer than it needs, because it is safer to eat when it's cooked over and not under. And what we want to do is avoid undercooking our meat, because that can make you really ill. So we just want to really get those temperatures right. Some people might cook it to a lower temperature than I'm doing, but I'm going to go for about 68 in the middle for this ham, centigrade that is, and we'll see. So this is our probe. It plugs into the oven, and then this goes into meat you're cooking, and it really detects the temperature around this end here. So it's good to get it in the right place in your meat. If you get it in the edge, then the edge of the meat is what it might not be hot in the middle, so you really want to get it to where you want that core temperature. I think that's something you've got to be careful you don't put it all the way through a piece of meat and it comes out the other side. I've seen that happen before, because you'll get the wrong readings. So really, just what you want. Apologise about the state of my oven. It needs a good clean, I know it, but this is reality. This is how people live. There's still a few herbs and stuff on it, I like that. It's feeling quite firm to the touch, so I think I want it that way up in the pan. And then we're going to put our probe right into the middle there. We've got this oven here is the AEG one, and what we see on this one is the sensor that plugs into that hole there. So we'll do that next. So here we go. Plug in our sensor here. We'll get to set a temperature up here, and that's going to be really cool. So now we can see that it's below 10 degrees in the meat, because 10 is the lowest it reads, and then that will work out now how long to cook for. Right, so it's been on for a while now, so what you can see, it's worked out. It's got 1 hour and 8 minutes left. It's currently 28 degrees in the middle, and we're down to 5 minutes. It's looking good, and the temperature is 65 in there. Okay, the last 40 seconds, it's at 67 degrees. Countdown with me, 3, 2, 1. And it's turned the stuff off. We can see it thinks it's cooked. We didn't see the temperature, do we? You can see that it's 68 in there. Perfect. Take that one. One ham. See you later. This week, I'm mainly going to be mowing. Alright then, let's go get that mower. You will notice that my mower has not had all the love and attention. It is a cheap model from the local hardware store, being produced in the UK, and it does a good job. However, it is starting to need a service, and if anybody knows a good way to service these things, let me know, because I think I need to get a service kit, replace the air filters, the spark plugs, because it doesn't quite fire on all cylinders, as you'll hear in the video. So I'm going to go down to 4, and it's going to chew through all this grass. I'll let you hear how we start this one, prime it, let's set 3, we'll do that on that side there, and then hopefully you'll hear this start in a very awkward fashion. Try that again. The joys, eh? Check we've got petrol. Yep, no fuel. So now we can go and try this one again. Come on. Actually pump some fuel in this time. Hear that? That's that main bit done. You see in here, it's not too bad. What happens is it just gets clogged. You obviously don't want to do this when it's on, you'll lose your fingers. So I'm going to empty that. Let's empty it now. goes on top for now. I'm back to do some more. Oh, I'm gonna need to cut his grass. So this wasn't the first mower we bought for this property. Originally we bought an electric mower, but it just couldn't go the distance for when the property was its original configuration. And what the electric one's really good for is getting near the edges and good to get a little trim afterwards. So what I'm going to do next is go over some of this with the electric mower, especially that area over there, and optimize some of these edges. You'll see still got those long grass on the edge, got to sort out the edges over there. You know, this is a very rough job. With this one we missed a few bits as well, just with the grass being so long. It's just, you see here as well, like we'll come back and we'll sort this with the electric one, I think, rather than waste any more petrol, because petrol costs more than anything right now. So I think it's done enough to get the height down, and now we'll go electric. Okay, now we'll work out if we have charged the electric one or not. So my son usually uses it and we are out of charge, so we're going to have to do this another time. So with that on charge, what I've got here is our electric strimmer. I'm actually going to use it to go along by the berries today because I think it needs it. So I'll film that just because it's what I do. So I got carried away, and without showing you, I just trim around the edges a little bit, just for this one while the electric one's charging. The electric one, when we do it, we'll go probably a similar level and just pull up any bits we missed, and it should look quite nice after that. But loads to do, and catch you soon. So maybe we need to start talking about all the jobs that need doing at some point. The things like, we built this chicken orchard, but there is no gate here. We've just got some temporary fencing. It's all been bodged together to keep the chickens in, rather than go, oh, let's buy the materials to make a really sturdy longevity one. So we've used like bricks we're taking out of the house on the extension to make part of the wall, because we don't have enough timber to make the fence. I think it looks quite original, but again, it's like we're missing a second gate. I don't know why we put two gates in. I think it just looked a bit more symmetrical. We've got to get rid of all our rubble and stuff like this over here, so we've got just loads of stuff that needs sorting out. Got another pile of rubble over here that we're going to move to that pile of rubble, so we've got one pile of rubble. And we can think of what we want to do with this space under the tree, because actually this sort of weather, it's nice to sit under here. Really nice. Hello and welcome back to my kitchen. So today we're going to look at just making some cereal. I made this granola recipe. It's just got honey and it uses like almonds and coconut to make it sweet. And I find it, my son absolutely loves it. It's one that we know there's no added sugar. I'll show you how I do it. First thing is, we're using this baker's honey that we get from our local honey shop, Baxby's over in Knutsford. And it is really good for this sort of thing. It's really thick and set, so what I like to do is melt some in a pan. So we're gonna do half a cup of the oil, half a cup of the honey, and then we'll mix that with 4 cups of oats. I'll go get the oats in a minute, and then I'll show you how it goes. So we use organic oats because when they spray oats at the end, it just means you haven't got as much chemical in your production, apparently. So that's almost it. So these are jumbo oats as well. I find the jumbo oats work a lot better. 2, 3, 4. Approximations, right? 4. Okay, so then we're going to put in some desiccated coconut. About that much. And some ground almonds. Sweetness, that's a bit better than adding just sugar. And do that. Now the original recipe I read was like do 1.5 cups of nuts and seeds. So I found if I use the ground ones, it's quite a nice texture, and it kind of like hides some of that kind of, if you don't like big bits of nuts on your teeth, then the ground ones are quite nice. And then we're going to do 1/2 cup of sunflower seeds kernels. Just like that. If you mix that, you get a nice little covering of your oats. Straightforward. Now we're going to put in about some salt, about 1/4 teaspoon, maybe a little bit more if you like, a bit of extra salt in your food. This just helps to pop the flavours when it's all cooked. So that should be alright. 20 minutes in the oven, so put it in for 10 minutes, stir it, put it in for 10 minutes, stir, bring it out. Sometimes you stir it, put it in for an extra couple of minutes if it's not golden enough. But really, you just want that really cooked, toasty thing. Depending how much honey and stuff you put in, you can either get it to clump or to be more like individual toasted oats. Everyone's got their preferences on a granola, so this is just what I like, and my son likes it as well. So the honey's now become pliable, so we're just going to add it in, and then we're going to just mix it all together. We don't have to get it 100% liquid, just enough to be what we need. Okay, and then we just mix that together. A bit like making a flapjack at this point, just without any sugar and butter. I'm just going to get a tray. I just used the oven tray with a bit of baking parchment. We're just going to flatten that out on it and shot here. Here we go. And then cheddar. Get that. Let's just do that 10 minutes in the oven. So let's see if I can do this. The oven is on 175 degrees. It is hot, so we'll go and take this. We'll do a 10-minute timer. Oh, no, this one. 10 minutes. Okay, so it's been about 10 minutes. Alexa, stop. Alexa, stop. You see it's like half gone golden on top, but what you'll see is if you mix it, Underneath it will still be quite bright and cut. You see that we're just mixing that in. Bring it in. Give it an even cook. This point, you want to push out down some places, make it a bit more clumpy. Again, mix around the oil and honey to change the texture. How clumpy you like it, once you clumpy, something like that. So it's and then put it in, and see that just always too much. It's hot. Alexa, set a timer for 10 minutes. So when that's out of the oven, we're going to mix it with some raisins and some bananas. So we're just going to chop the bananas ready now. So by bananas, I mean banana chips. Get them locally quite cheap. And just a load of raisins and a bit of cinnamon. So I just cut the bananas now. Some banana chips. This is fun. Again, it's preference how many you put in and how small you want to cut them. I like just to cut them a bit and they go absolutely everywhere. Yeah, that sounds. It's important to keep an eye on it because 2 minutes to go and it's looking like it's going to burn, so we're going to leave that on there. Again, for your preference, you may want to leave it longer if you like burnt stuff. So now you can let it cool and set if you like more like bits clumped together. If you don't mind, you can mix in stuff sooner. I'm impatient, so I'm just going to put it in now. So I'm going to add our banana chips. And a few good handfuls of raisins. So again, this is to taste. If you don't want raisins and banana chips, you can add different things. That might go well in a granola. I see people do all sorts of ones, so I like quite a bit of raisins. Keeps it nice and sweet. Like that. And then a bit of cinnamon. So this just adds an extra dimension. I quite like it. I usually do 1 or 2 teaspoons depending on how cinnamony you like it. So that's 1.5 or 1 1/4. That's the timer. Alexa, stop. And we just come in and just mix that back up gently. I would put it off, get it flavour, something like mix it in, put it into a more soft flavour. So it's all for this. So we get that little bit of smell for pick up where it's not zero, it's great, it's cool. Let's go put it into jars and keep it for weeks. Like only lasts about a week in our house. And that's how I make cereal. Oh, something else we did this week was we tidied up the pond. We didn't film it. But you'll see the pond is now a little bit happier. You can see in there we've got some nice goldfish. We took some of the plants out, they were just growing too big and now they got loads of space. We bought 5 fish for this pond. I think we're up to 12 in there, so they are happy and they get well fed, well looked after. And then we moved out this extra plant and made a little ramp for the frogs because the frogs weren't so happy about moving stuff around, but we just needed it for the fish to have the space to swim and enjoy the pond. Hello, we're just doing a quick bit of garden wire. Our peas over here, if you have a look, take a look at these peas, are now at the top of this wire on the frame, so we need to put another wire in so that they can grow up and grab onto it, otherwise they're just going to flop down. So we're just going to do 1 on each side today and that's it. Yeah. Hello there. So we mowed this the other day roughly with a petrol mower, and it's grown a bit since then. We've had really good sun and dew. Before it gets too hot today, I'm going to actually mow it with the electric, so we'll show you what that is. I've got a little cameraman with me today, so hopefully the filming might be slightly better than me trying it on my own. Let's go get the electric mower. As I said before, this was the first mower we got. It's a lot quieter than the petrol one, and we have less issues with it. Giving it. Alright, let's have a look in it. That's pretty full. So let's go empty this in the compost. I noticed with the good weather how much weeds have come up here, so later in the week we might be weeding this. Definitely weeding that. Greenhouse is looking good. I'm going to finish doing this bit here. Leave this table. go, that's the battery done. We just about cut it all, and we've got another full load, so really what you can get to on one of these batteries is 2 complete loads. Let's go take this back and try not to sting our legs this time. Let's strum out, we're just going to strum around the fire pit. And that'll do for today. What do you reckon, chicks? So thank you to my son for filming that. He did a great job. And today we're going to now cook on the fire pit. It's going to be a great bit of cookery. But the ground is looking nice. The lawn looks so better than the beginning of the week. This is the after shot, obviously, in the sunshine. And yeah, I've got some good news as well. We are going to be starting on the fire kitchen as soon as maybe next week or the week after we've managed to afford to get started, which is really awesome. So I will work through what those plans are with you. I will explain it next week. We'll talk a lot about the fire kitchen and the patio area. I think it will start to really transform this whole garden. We've started to look at the cost of materials, and I can't wait to get started. So we'll see what happens next week. I've got more work on, so I may not get to film as much, but I hope you enjoy watching the mowing, watching the other things that I managed to film this week. And if you haven't checked it out, I've also put my website up. It's only got 1 recipe or 2 recipes on there for now, but I'll start putting any recipes and things on my website. But yeah, it's going well, and you know,